So today, the CSGO economy is still absolutely blowing up in price. Now with a lot more higher tier items starting to take off. So I want to make a follow-up video to yesterday's video where I sort of just covered everything that was going on with this whole situation. But today, I want to talk about higher tier items specifically, why we've seen them take off today a lot more than we did yesterday, and just overall how long I think this situation is going to continue for, and a better analysis as to what's causing it, because if this continues we could definitely be gearing up for price spikes to highs that we saw in May and June of last year. So as always, if you guys enjoy, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out my sponsor, Skin Club. Skin Club is a CSGO case opening site with over 100 unique cases, a battle game mode, an upgrade system, and right now they're running a sick event too. Today I opened the Diamond Skins case and got a Battle-Scarred Stat Track Op Asimov, but since I got 2 Op Asimovs the last time, I obviously don't need 3. So I chose a 1.5x and upgraded my Op Asimov into a Flip Knife Brightwater through the upgrade feature. For a 57% chance, that's honestly really good. Also, during the event right now, each case you open gets you candy canes, which you can use to unbox more cases for completely free. And most importantly, it's all completely provably fair, so you know you're not getting ripped off. So be sure to sign up to Skin Club today with that link at the top of the description and get a 7% bonus on your first deposit. But for now, let's get right into the video. So first of all, what's with high tiers especially taking off today? I talked yesterday about how it could be tied to Bitcoin dumping out and a lot of players potentially moving that money over to CS. I think this is definitely part of the reason for it, but another thing I saw pointed out was that it could be tied in with Chinese New Year. I assume because a lot of people have been seeing this whole ordeal play out on Buff, which is of course a Chinese website, but the thing is, I don't believe it's entirely because of Chinese New Year either, because this is also played out on the Steam market in the exact same time frame. So there's buyers everywhere. It's not just Chinese players, it's legit everybody. You could make the argument that it's just non-Chinese players buying the items on the Steam market at the same time to sell them on Buff, but I just can't take that as an answer. I think the economy specifically around order operation skins and higher tier items is just finally starting to pick up as it should. Chinese New Year might have been a tie in it, and so may have been the Bitcoin crash, but I think the market was just due for a price increase like this eventually, and I guess we've hit that time. But with that being said, I once again want to talk about how things are going to look in the future, specifically the short term this time. Let's compare it to the May/June spike of this year that was similar among all operation skins, all top tier investments, even cases. Pretty much the entire market, just like we're seeing this time around. We saw the first big jump of the move happen in just around a week's time, and the second big spike happened in a bit under 2 weeks' time. And the entire move and this entire huge spike that we saw before kind of just played out over a month's time, which for such a big spike really isn't that long. All things considered, it's a pretty quick play, especially when we have to account that buyers have to wait for the 7-day trade hold to sell again. So if you buy something right now, you have to wait a week to sell again, so you better hope that thing is not going to tank 20% in the next week. That's obviously a big risk to take with these 20 to 40% gains that we're just seeing in the past 24 hours, especially in high tiers if you're dumping thousands of dollars into it. So what's the play right now? Well, first of all, to the people that own older operation skins or even newer skins like a Op Desert Hydra for example, or just anything from the new collections that we got from Riptide, I'm going to keep holding my items for now and let this play out by day for the older stuff. If we don't see a huge pullback in skins price tomorrow or the next day, I think it's safe to keep holding for the next few days after that, but if things go completely parabolic and we see the same trend we saw last time, selling is definitely going to be a safe play, because if things go up drastically in a very short period of time, they will die back down, especially if this is all just driven by hype. And especially something like the Op Desert Hydra or the newer skins that we got from Riptide. The Op Desert Hydra specifically is almost 5,000 of them in supply right now, with a bit less than 3 months still left in the operation. There is an absurd amount of supply of these things, and if you guys didn't learn anything from Broken Fang with the Op Fade absurd supply as well, you will get punished this time for holding on too long. And a 20% spike in these randomly because everybody I guess is moving their money into CS for whatever reason, is definitely not something you should be ignoring if you unboxed one of these or whatever and are just holding onto it for the time being. I think selling high tiers from Riptide is a completely fine option right now. Timing the peak is going to be very difficult, but we did see a 20% increase just today. But if Bitcoin crashes again to lower lows, that could jump even higher. So it is a risk you're going to have to take if you want to keep holding newer items to try and sell at an insane peak. But if you won't order stuff from Broken Fang, Shattered Web, or earlier, I'm going to keep holding off for now as to selling it. Maybe I'll buy some more if it looks like it's slowly but surely climbing up, and hopefully we'll do that for the next few months, but I'm not going to sell unless there's a huge parabolic spike like we saw in May and June of last year. Then I'll try and time the peak and sell there perfectly. But as for the Bitcoin situation and if it'll dip further, all the technical analysis I've seen is that there is definitely a lower low. Of course, not financial advice, but me owning quite a bit of Bitcoin because I do get paid in Bitcoin, I sold like 90% of it so far. So I am prepared for a lower low, and hopefully that means good for the CSGO economy, and hopefully we're going to see a huge increase because of this, and hopefully be able to sell at that peak and make some good money if things continue the way they're going. As for people that are interested in buying right now though, especially high tiers, Gungnir's, Princes, Dragon Lords, stuff like that, first of all, you've got to realize you're buying when a lot of other people are buying at this point. I've always said that buying when we're in a dry period like we were in is the best time to buy, because in the CSGO market, we're going to see drastic stuff like this happen pretty consistently. So the risk right now is a lot higher than it was literally a week ago, but the fundamentals to me still make sense. The operation is coming to a close in a few months, meaning we're going to actually have a dry period for content where people should be looking back on these older investments again, and ideally we'll have another spike. Do I think now is a horrible time to buy? No, not necessarily, but with these 20% spikes in just the past 24 hours on high tier items, we're going to see people selling to try and make some quick bread. So if the price is right, buying in now is definitely an option, but waiting a few days to see how this plays out is definitely the safest move, but can also cause you to miss out on quite a bit of money if this whole thing plays out like we saw in May and June of last year, which makes this a very tough call, and I just can't magically predict the future and say it'll go one way or another. It's very possible that it goes either way, especially with how Bitcoin goes. But once again, what I can say is that either way this plays out, I don't think we're going to see a crash below the long-term support level that we have established after these skins took a hit from Operation Riptide's release and have been sitting stagnant at. So if you just look at any old Operation skin or whatever it is and look at where it was after Riptide got released and how a lot of them are just completely flat, I think that's the lowest low we'll see them hit in a very long time, unless a new Operation gets released, but I don't think that'll happen within a few months after Riptide. So I don't think they're going to hit a lower low than that, whether we see a huge spike here or not. But either way, when the operation ends, hopefully these skins should start picking up again and continue that trend up until we hit the next operation, where we're most likely to see a pretty big dip again. But until that point, in my eyes, I don't see any reason why these skins don't just continue their way up. Even with the supply issues, they hit absurd lows, and I think people are going to start to catch on to that and start buying, as we're seeing right now. So overall, a very interesting sudden time in the CSGO market, which is why buying during a dry period can definitely pay off. And there, of course, will be dry periods in the future, so be sure to keep that in mind. But for now, I hope that does help you guys out with everything that's going on right now. And as always, if you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.